2022 season previews continue today with the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, I know usually we're doing two previews in one day, but today we're only doing one, and it's because of my own fault. My sleep schedule is out of whack, and I woke up, I looked at my clock, it was 11:49 a.m. I'm like, well, crap. So we're only going to do one today. We're going to push everyone back. Obviously, we're going to have two on the same day starting tomorrow. I'm going to actually set an alarm this time so I wake up. And, we're just going to keep getting into the process of it because I have not recorded YouTube videos consistently since the playoffs ended. So, let's talk about the Vegas Golden Knights, key departures, key arrivals, last season to look at the projected lineup this season. But first off, if you aren't new to the channel and you're not already subscribed, please make sure to do that. I would love to see, more fans on the channel. It would be amazing. We're only last I checked, 7 subscribers away from 900. We're almost there. And we should make it by the beginning of next season. Hopefully. I'm really hoping that we do. But anyways, I won't waste any more of your time. Let's get into the preview. So first off, let's look at last season for the Vegas Golden Knights and what happened. So they were 40-14-2 with 82 points. Solid statistics. They were second in the NHL all time, and they weren't even first in their division. Yeah, that Pacific Division it wasn't really close. It wasn't really close to the other divisions. It was godly. So, of course, the Vegas Golden Knights was the second seed. They played the third seed, Minnesota Wild, and they won in 7 games. And it was a lot harder than it was planned to be. They were up 3-1 in the series, and then the Minnesota Wild, especially Cam Talbot, came back and carried the Wild to a Game 7, kind of like what Thatcher Demko did last year against the Knights with the Canucks. But, it wasn't enough again. Vegas pulled it out in 7 games, and then they faced the Colorado Avalanche. And they went down 2-0, and it was looking like it was going to be a dominant sweep for Colorado. That's what it looked like. And Colorado was 6-0, and then it all fell apart. They lost Game 3, or Vegas won Game 3. They won Game 4. They won 5 in overtime, and they prevailed in Game 6 to move on to the conference finals against the Montreal Canadiens, where for the second straight year making the conference finals, they fell out. And they lost to the Canadiens in, I think it was 5 games, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 6 games. 6 games, not 5 games. I don't know why I couldn't process that for a second. They lost in 6 games. It was a tough series. Goaltending was a bit of a sting for them at points during that time. And, they just couldn't do it again. And honestly, they lost a lot of depth this offseason, and we're going to see, what's going to happen as this team moves along. Your key departures list for the Golden Knights is a big one. They lost a lot of depth, and a lot of decent big names as well. So I'd say the biggest name that they lost this offseason was obviously the goalie that they drafted from Pittsburgh in the expansion draft, the goalie that carried them to the Stanley Cup Finals, the goalie that carried them to the conference finals in the years that they made it, Marc-Andre Fleury. And, it's unfortunate to see that he got traded for nothing. It really is. And, you hate to see it, but, he's getting up there in age. And, Vegas has Leonard, and now they signed another guy from Winnipeg, and, they just had to move on. And, that's the sad part. It sucks moving on from, your very first goaltender that you had in your entire franchise's history. That's never easy. They also lost Nick DeSimone. They also lost Ryan Reeves, a good enforcer who will definitely be missed. They lost Carl Dahlstrom, Danny O'Regan, Dylan Sikura, Jimmy Schultz, Ryan Murray. As I said, a lot of depth. And here are some more notable names. They lost Thomas Nosek, who was a good bottom 6 center, and he will definitely do that in Boston. And I'm actually really excited for what Boston's going to do this season, coming as a Boston fan myself. Nick Holden as well. In a trade with Ottawa, they lost him. They also lost Cody Glass in the 3-way Flyers Ryan Ellis trade. to the Nashville Predators. And they also lost a goaltender who's been with them since the beginning as well, Oscar Dansk. So they lost a lot of guys that were on this inaugural team, like Fleury, Reeves. I think Nosek was. And they also lost Oscar Dansk as well, and their first draft choice ever in Cody Glass. So, it's amazing how much this team has moved on, and they're only heading into their 5th season in the NHL. It's unbelievable to see, almost the entire inaugural season team is gone. There's only a couple of guys left, like Marchessault, Carlson, Theodore. There's only a few left, and it stinks. So it just makes me feel old. So, anyways, your key arrivals list for the Vegas Golden Knights, however, consists of nobody. not that many people. Sven Bartishi from Vancouver. I probably butchered that last name. I butcher it every single time. I don't understand why they signed him. I thought he was kind of heading towards the end of his tenure in the NHL, but you know what? Solid depth, I guess. Gag Quinney. I'm actually serious. It's literally a name. Laurent Brossois, the backup that I was talking about, who can be a solid player if he comes out right out of the bat as a backup for the behind Leonard. They also lost Evgeny Dadonov. Dadonov as well. They got Evgeny Dadonov. They didn't lose him. Dadonov, I have a lot of faith in him. I'm going to be honest and say it right out. I have a lot of faith in Dadonov. Dadonov has had 70-point seasons before. He's had 25-goal seasons. I think he can go back to that. I genuinely do think. But it may take a little bit of time, but I think that, if he plays with the right people, you put him with the right lineup, he could go back to his old roots. They also acquired Brett Howden in a trade from the Rangers. That was basically an expansion trade. Howden will be a solid depth forward. They needed that, especially since they lost a lot of their AHL. They also acquired, and a guy that I have his jersey, I think it's that one right there. They acquired Nolan Patrick from the Nashville Predators, but you know what I mean. He was also in the 3-way trade, and Patrick, I don't know. I don't know how he does with Vegas. If you put him with the right people, I think he can succeed. But to be honest, I've doubted Patrick a lot, and he doesn't deserve it, and he's been through the migraines, and like Philly didn't really treat him too well. Like, it sucks, but I think he'll do well in Vegas, definitely. But we'll see what happens. Anyways, let's move on. Your projected lineup for the Vegas Golden Knights consists of, on the top 6, Max Pacioretty, William Karlsson, Mark Stone, second line, Riley Smith, Matthias Janmark, and Evgeny Dadonov. Solid. Pacioretty, Karlsson, Stone, first line. That line should do well right out of the gate. I've talked about how the center depth in Vegas has always been a problem. I still think that maybe they want to go out and get a center because, honestly, I can't see it. You could move up Chandler Stevenson up to the first line and, put Karlsson second, Janmark on the third line as depth. But I don't really know how you do that, honestly. But I think the top 6 looks pretty good generally. If Dadonov can, have a bounce back, this team looks solid. Bottom 6, William Carrier, Chandler Stevenson, Nicholas Roy, Nolan Patrick, Brett Howden, and Keegan Colasar. As well as that, you have Peyton Krebs down as the extra depth down below. So, I look at that roster and I'm like, all right, so they have a lot of guys that aren't really common names. Like William Carrier, no one really knows who that is. Keegan Colasar, no one knows who that is really. Brett Howden, even, unless if you're a Rangers fan, you don't really know who Howden is. So, the team has a lot of unknown, underrated guys. I remember when Nicholas Waugh was traded to Vegas from Carolina for, I think it was Eric Haula, if I'm not mistaken, who was also a part of that inaugural Vegas team. And look at what he's turned into. He's on the third line, bottom 6 role, and he was kind of like a no-name prospect, to be honest with you. So I think that's a good addition for Vegas back at the time. And I just think that I look at this offense and I'm like, well, it may need some work on the center, but I still think it's good. On the defense, they have Shea Theodore and Alex Pietrangelo, Martinez and Whitecloud, and then McNabb and Coughlin as your third pairing. Then you got Nicholas Hague as your extra guy on the left east side. Solid. That is a great. The top three guys are Theodore Petrangelo and Martinez. That is a very solid defense, and I think they probably have one of the best defensive structures in the entire NHL. And I mean, they have underrated guys down there as well. But losing what's his name, Nick Holden, is definitely an impact because he would probably be playing on the spot where Coghlan is playing now. So, and obviously on the goaltending side of things, you have Robin Lehner and Laurent Brossoit. I've never been really high on Robin Lehner. I've respected him. I've just never really been, a big fan of him. I've liked Fleury a lot more. I thought Fleury kind of got robbed of the net since Lehner's in there now, and if Lehner is bad next season, yeah, that could be a problem. So, and it kind of smacked Vegas in the face because if Fleury is doing great with Chicago, which I stated my opinions with Chicago before, but if he does well with Chicago, yeah, that doesn't look good. So yeah, Leonard needs to do good. I think the defense will hold out. The offense, I've already said it, but they need to work on the center core a little bit. It just doesn't look right. I think Peyton Krebs will definitely rise up and become probably a third, second line center at the max this season. But they still need to work on it, obviously. And I just think that generally, apart from that, and if everything goes right, this team is a good team generally, and I think this team can still win their division. This team can still go to the conference finals again. And on to my final question. Do the Vegas Golden Knights make the 2022 Stanley Cup playoffs? And the answer is yes. Even if this team was bad, even if the center core doesn't work out, even if the defense doesn't work out, even if the goaltending is choppy at times, they still make the playoffs, and they still have a chance to win their division. Just because of how weak this specific division is. And that's why I have Calgary making the playoffs. I feel like the top three is going to be Vegas, Edmonton, and it's going to be either Vancouver or Calgary or even Seattle. It really could be anyone. So, the NHL is unpredictable. Anything can happen. The Sabres can make the playoffs. Rasmus Asplund could rise up to the plate and become the best center in the league. But you know what I mean. So even if this team's bad, they should make the playoffs. So thank y'all for watching, and thank you for supporting the channel as of late. Tomorrow will be the Vancouver Canucks and the Toronto Maple Leafs season previews. I'll make sure to set an alarm. I'll make sure to actually do it tomorrow. So thank y'all for watching, for support as of late, and I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.